Hey everyone, today we're going to do a comparison video between the Toyota Hilux and the Mitsubishi Triton. Let's get straight into it. Obviously having a good ute is a pretty key part of what we do on a day-to-day basis, and we often get asked what we use and what we prefer. We've used both the Hilux and the Triton now for a number of years. We've put a lot of Ks on both vehicles, so we've got a pretty good understanding of the recent models of each brand as to what's good and bad about them. So that's what we're going to give you a bit of a snapshot of today. So starting off, we've got our most recent Hilux. This is a 2022 SR model. Price-wise, talking high 50s for the spec that we run, which is probably a little bit on the higher side compared to some of the others. But in general, the reliability and performance that we get out of these is pretty superior, so we're pretty happy to pay that premium. Some of the benefits, obviously the reliability, which Hilux is known for, despite the recent issues they've had with the whole DPF thing, which we have had one that's had that in the past, but it was just a one-day process to get that fixed under warranty. So obviously we put these through a fair bit of work. They're towing pretty much every day. Our original one's done nearly 200,000 Ks. The majority of that's been towing, and it's still performing quite well. So in general, as a good, reliable, solid work ute, they've been fantastic. The interior and comfort's obviously pretty good. Most of these modern four-wheel drives are fantastic with that side of things. All your usual touchscreen displays, pretty cruisy, comfortable drive as well. So all the mod cons that you'd expect in a modern four-wheel drive now as well. So that's a quick overview of the Hilux. Now we'll jump over to the Triton and compare the two. So the Triton's obviously a little bit cheaper as far as compared to the Hilux. It probably sits around the mid 40s, whereas the Hilux was that high 50s. So as far as value for money goes, there's probably a bit more value there. Very similar spec as far as the Hilux, slightly smaller engine, which puts out slightly less power. So that is noticeable when you're towing, particularly lower down. The turbo lag's fairly severe on a Triton. So when you're taking off from the lights under load, it takes a little bit to get going. So that's probably the biggest criticism of the actual power unit. Interior, comfort, everything's fairly similar, slightly smaller touchscreen, but all the usual mod cons that you'd expect. The Triton actually comes standard with a reverse camera, whereas the Hilux doesn't, so that's something that might catch you out at the dealership with the Hilux. But other than that, they're fairly comparable in that regard. Probably the other difference, Tritons run a 15,000 kilometre service interval, slightly higher cap price servicing, whereas the Hilux is a 10,000 kilometre service interval, so more frequent servicing at a slightly less dollar value per price. So that's something to consider as well. Probably the major difference we've found between the two is the Triton has had a few issues as far as reliability. Whether that's been rectified in more recent years models is yet to be seen, but some of the older models we had a few issues around exhaust manifolds, intercooler leaks, that sort of thing. Again, they're all covered under warranty, minor issues, but the warranty process through Mitsubishi was slightly more cumbersome than Hilux. So they're probably the main differences between the two. In summary, the Triton probably represents better value for money as far as sitting at a lower price point for similar features and capabilities. The turbo lag is something that is a little bit annoying with the Triton, whereas the Hilux doesn't have that, and a few little reliability gremlins in the Triton. Again, not a huge issue, but they do add up, especially for a business when downtime is pretty key. So best value is probably the Triton. As far as reliability, durability, and power and performance, the Hilux probably takes the cake there. Again, at a probably higher price point, so depending on your budget, that's something to consider. But for today, the Hilux probably wins it purely based on performance and reliability over price. That's it for our little comparison video between the Hilux and the Triton. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Even let us know if you drive something different and tell us what you think of it as well. And that's it for now. Cheers.